Go for it.
Great. So good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining. On this Rise and Shine, we're going to see the basics of Reaper for editing podcasts. So I'm Sandra Jean-Pierre. I'm a freelance audio producer and podcast producer. And I'm one of the 2019 multi-track fellow. So at first, we're going to go straight into it. If you have after each chapter, I'm going to have a look at the chat on YouTube to answer any questions that you could have. So let's start. So first of all, what I wanted to say is that this is the interface. I'm going to do this workshop as if all of you were complete beginners on Reaper. So this is the interface. So if you click right on here, you can insert a new track. This can be used to record your own voice in case you, for this workshop, we already have this audio that Sarah told you to download, but I just wanted to show you that you can also record your own voice here, and it's recording it on this track. So all you need to do is like arm the recording here and arm it and making it start here. So, but we don't need to do that now. And then this is what I've recorded. So we're going to so first of all, I'm going to show you how to import your pre-recorded audio into Reaper. So this is my computer files. So if you have a MacBook, of course, you can always drag and drop it to the track. And it's automatically going to create this little box here that is the track where you can input effects. So, and if you don't have a Mac, there's always the possibility of extracting it from here. So you do insert and then media file. And then I shouldn't have done that because my computer is extremely slow. And then you can find your audio here and then add it to the Reaper interface, to your project. So once you have your audio here, you can listen to it.
It's sausages. It's called Sausage Cast or something.
Voila, so this is your audio. So you can always, if you have several tracks with several bits of information, for example, if it's a podcast that had voice and music here, and then after this atmospheric, and you're going to play with the 3 tracks to have something with different types of sounds, you can do that as well. I'll show that later. But you can all of the tracks, you can rename them. So this one, we're going to call it voice. And you can mute the track or have it on solo. So I'm going to show you I'm just going to add, for the sake of showing you this, I'm going to add a track with music, just for a second, and a track with atmospheric sound. Well, just music because I know it's here. And a track with atmospheric sound. So if you have 3 tracks, for example, you can call this one music and call this one atmos sound or something like that. So then once you have, every single track can be muted so that when you listen to it, you only hear one, or can be soloed. So you only hear one, or you just mute one of the tracks. So this is what those buttons are for. So for the sake of the podcast, because it's editing along, I'm going to delete those tracks. And we're going to start with that. So, so next, I'm going to check if you have any questions from now. Reaper setup view as view. Mine doesn't show the same bottom half. Thanks. Okay, there's no question that I can actually answer, so I'm just going to keep going. So after this, one interesting thing with Reaper is the fade in and fades out. If you go up left with the little cursor, you have this little symbol that appears and that allows you, if you click on it and you stay, you hold the button, you hold your mouse, you can fade in. So the sound has a fade. And you can fade it out the same way at the end. You can zoom in here, or you can also use the Macintosh way of zooming in and zooming out with the pad, but I'm just going to show like this for people that don't have a Mac. You can zoom in here and zoom out here, same in this way. So another thing that is useful with Reaper is the auto fade, the auto crossfade. So on the left, on the up left, you have this. When you enable it, if you decide to split the item, so to split the item, you can either press S, or you can also go on click right and split the item at cursor. So you have two items, and now if I zoom in, I'm going to show you. So this is, I've cut my items, my audio file, and now since I've enabled crossfade, this is when I'm going to like make them closer. This is automatically going to do a crossfade so that the sound goes in and out of the two audio items. So this is one useful thing. Sorry. So ensuite, one of the other interesting thing that you can do with Reaper is trimming the audio. I'm going to show you the different ways of trimming it. But first, I'm going to check if you have any question. Okay, great. So, so trimming the audio on Reaper. So there's different stuff that you can do with your audio on Reaper. First, you can do markers for spaces that you can, by pressing M, you can do a marker and you can edit your marker with, for example, and write voice, joke. This is the moment where at this moment in time, is doing a joke. So you can have this as name joke and like repeat, like orient yourself in the audio item, so that when you come back to it, you know where you're supposed to do your edits. Another interesting stuff is splitting item that I've shown you. So we're going to edit a little bit of it all together so that you know how it works when you're actually working. So this is the beginning.
Podcast is?
Oh my God, is it something?
You're close.
Something brisket?
It's sausages. It's called Sausage Cast or something. And I think it's the only sausage-based podcast in the world. I'm really intrigued to hear it.
That can't be that.
I'm sure he does vegan sausages as well. You would, wouldn't you? We wouldn't alienate
No, that's true.
part of the audience who might like sausage. But
Alors, so I'm going to show you, I've seen two questions on the chat saying that, like, someone is asking, how do we undo the crossfade? And someone else is asking, can you give an example of when you would use a crossfade? So we're going to edit this bit where he's basically...
You're close.
So when you want to see something on Reaper, all you have to do is click on it and click play.
Fine.
Click on the moment on time. So here I'm going to like listen to 0 minutes and 48 seconds and click play.
But it's just, I walked from Goodge Street and you forget how little cover there is. In my head, I was like...
So if I want to, if I've decided that my podcast will start when he's talking about where he walked, I'm going to cut it here with the S or with just split item, as I showed you. And then I'm going to drag this underneath, just so I have it if I want to find it again, and just so I can focus on what I want to keep. Then then he's talking. So let's listen to what he's doing.
I walked from Goodge Street and you forget how little cover there is. In my head, I was like, in a minute, I'll be under some cover, but there was none.
So I want to get rid of this, where it's basically just using his mouth. So I'm going to use split again, split item at cursor, and get rid of this. So now I have this little audio bit.
I walked from Goodge Street and you forget how little cover there is. In my head, I was like, in a minute, I'll be under some cover, but there was none.
Voila. So now what I want to do is have a crossfade at the beginning and crossfade at the end. So you go up and you do this, and you go up and you stay and you do the same thing. So the question was, let me just have a look because there's a lot of questions. So if you want to undo the crossfade, this is one of the questions all that you just did. All you have to do is going here, and it's basically like undo. So I'm undoing what I just did. I want it back now, so I'm redoing it. It's just like in every single software that you use, there's undo and redo. If you wanna use an example of when you would use the crossfade, is I'm gonna show you. So imagine if I have some music here. In this, I'm just gonna, imagine if I have some music. So I'm just gonna add a track here to be able to show you that. And I'm just gonna unzoom so you can have a look at what I'm doing. So, and I'm just gonna make this track the third one, and this is the second one. So if I have some music here, so I've added a bit of music in the second track. So I have some music here and I want to cut it here. So the music is there, blah, blah, blah. So I want to cut it. So I just go split item. And because there's music happening here, and then the voice appears, and then there's no more music. So I'm splitting the item of music here, and I'm going to split it again here. And then I'm going to get rid of those 2 bits here and here that I don't want to use. So to get rid of it, you can either use the delete key on your computer, or you can go click right and go on remove item. And then for the second part, click right and remove items. So then I just want to use this little bit here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it at the beginning because we start with that. And then if I want to have them in the same track, I can use the crossfade by doing this. There's lots of different reasons why you need to use the crossfade. This one is not necessarily the ideal, but I'm just showing you because this is one of the questions.
I walked from...
Or maybe... So here, the crossfade is bad because there's a silence here and he's not talking. All of this moment where there's no waves is the moment that I can be deleted. So I'm just going to split it here again to show you. And then add it together. So now there's a crossfade. Let's listen to what it does.
I walked from...
Wow, it's a bit short. So we can... by pressing the crossfade and clicking on it, you can make the crossfade longer. So let's listen to what it does.
I walked from Gooch.
Oh, it's quite short. I'm going to make it extra long so you have an idea of what it does.
I walked from Gooch Street, and you forget how little cover there is.
Voila. So this is a crossfade. This is a nice way of just simply going from a bit to another bit, and it goes smoothly rather than just having a cut. So now I've shown you this, so I'm going to delete the music, go back to the normal track, delete this track that was here just for the music. And we're going to go to the next bit. I'm going to check now if you have any other questions before. Hello, I have a question about files. Well, Lisa Hack is apparently answering a lot of questions, so I'm just going to keep going. Thank you so much, Lisa. So another important thing that is useful to know with Reaper is the volume of tracks. So you have your different tracks here. So I've shown you how to cut it. So now let's say that I only want to use that bit, and I want it to be at some moments, like I want the voice to be lower or louder at some points in this like short amount of time. So to do this, you click right, or you click on it and you press V on your keyboard, And you're going to have this volume track that is going to appear. If you want to like, so I'm just going to, so here to show you, for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to solo it. So that the only thing that we're going to hear now is the voice that I've selected here. So once I've done that, I want to like change the volume at different moments of time of this little audio bit. So you can create a little dot here by clicking right, and you should have a dot. Yes. You should, wait one sec. I'm having a little technical issue. Ah, voilà, create new point. So you just click on create new point. And then, so you create 2 points. So one here, and for example, one here. And this is a point that is going to show you how the sound is going to dip or fade up during the time moment. So if I'm just going to show you if, so this point is going down, so the volume is going to be down at this point. So I'm just going to make it longer so that you know what I'm doing. And then we're going to create another point here that is going to go up so that you see how it affects this audio bit. So let's play it.
I walked from Goodge Street and you forget how little cover. In my head, I was like, in a minute, I'll be under some cover, but there was none.
Voilà, so as you can see, at the point that, like the starting point is here, then the line is going down, so the voice is going down, then up, then down. So you can play with it. Once you have, if you have music underneath, for example, and you want the music to go up, or you want the music to go down while he's talking. I'm gonna check now if you have any questions. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going. So now, now what I'm gonna do is, show you what you can do with this volume and this crossfade with 2 other tracks. I know it's editor long, but there's not that much stuff that you can do with just one voice track. So I'm just gonna do you a quick demonstration. So for this, I'm gonna get rid of, I'm just gonna like add, get rid of this volume for now so that you have enough space, I have enough space to show you, and add the music. Voilà, so this is another track. So if I want this track, so when it's offline, it's just that my computer is a bit slow, but it's it's like something that someone, can you mix the volume manually with a fader? Can you show how to create a point again? Okay, so I'm going to show you how to create a point again. So I've added the music here. So if you want your track to go, for example, if you want this track to be just underneath your voice, you just click on it, you stay clicked on, you keep pressing on it, and you put it underneath. So now there is music all the way up. So we're gonna shorten this. So you click on split, you split it, and then you add it at the beginning. There's also another way of doing that I'll show you later. So I'm just going to show you how to do the volume points again because someone have asked about it. So now there's music playing.
That's walking. But...
There's music playing. Wait, one sec, sorry. Muted, voilà. There's music playing. And then there's a voice again. So what we want to do is like have the music underneath this voice. So this is where I'm going to show you how to use the volume again. So you click on the track, you click on V, the keyboard, on your keyboard, the letter V, and then you have the volume of that track, which is the music. Now, as I showed you, you can call it, you can rename it music. So alors, this is how you do a point. You click right, and then there's this menu appearing and you click on create new points. Then you click right again. Then at the end, because I want this music to go down just when this is happening. So you click right again at the end and you create a new point. So that now there's two ways of doing it. Either you create another point to be able to drag it, and another one here. And then all you have to do, I'm gonna zoom in, voila. Then all you have to do is lower it down like this. So that the music, you click on it and you stay click on it and you lower it down so that the music is going down during the more or less when he starts talking. So I'm going to show you how it sounds like.
I walked from Googe Street and you forget how little cover there is. In my head, I was like, in a minute, I'll be under some cover, but there was none.
Great. So it's not amazingly done here, but like it's just for the sake of showing you. So you should be able, like there's other ways of doing it. You can have it a little bit louder so that we can hear the music a little bit more while he's talking, just has a background noise.
I walked from Googe Street and you forget how little cover there is. In my head, I was like, in a minute, I'll be under some cover, but there wasn't.
Voila. So as you can hear, the music is dipping and then it's going up again. So I'm going to get rid of it to show you something else now. And I'm going to check, and don't hesitate to ask questions now. So another way of, like, another interesting thing to know about Reaper is that there's a Ripple editing mode. Before I go into it, I'm just going to have a look at the questions. How for recording direct Reaper via mic. Alors, I'm going to answer one of the questions of Lydia Viola. Hi, for recording direct to Reaper via a mic and preamp, where do you select the input and output on Reaper? So if you go on up, there's like, you click on Reaper, it's probably different for Windows, but I can only show you on Mac. You go on preferences, and then you can decide here, what is your audio device and your input and output. For recording, this is how you do it. I haven't really used Reaper to record directly with it, but I can probably, I think it's something that is happening. Unfortunately, I cannot answer this question, but it's something that is happening here on recordings and on audio device. You just need to change your audio device to change your recording. Sorry, I cannot be more help, Lydia. So I'm just going to read some other questions. Great, there's no other questions, so I'm going to keep going. So what I wanted to show you with Reaper, I'm going to get rid of this music bit. So this is our voice media pod that we've been asked to download. So now I want to cut other things. So if we listen to it.
You're all in Googe Street, yeah. Yeah.
Where is Googe Street?
Like, well, the station is between Warren Street and Tottenham Court Road. It's on Tottenham Court Road, basically. The one end's on Tottenham Court Road, the other end's in Soho.
Rebecca, I'm not going to eat the mic. I'm like eating until you tell me to stop.
Presumably we've got the studio till 3, have we? Okay. Do you mind if we just start in 2 minutes?
So let's imagine that I want to get rid to this part here when he's saying.
Okay. Do you mind if we just start in 2 minutes?
So what I can do is, so I'll show you, select split with the S or with click right, or split item at cursor. So as I said, you can do it either by clicking on S on your keyboard or by clicking right and selecting split items at cursor. So I've like selected the 2 bits that I want to get rid of. Then I'm going to remove the item. And there's two, in fact, one of the interesting things that you can do with Reaper here is that either you delete something at the center and this are not going to move. So you'll have to drag it manually because you don't want to have a silence here. Or what you can also do, which is really useful, is that I'm just like undoing what I've just done to show you, is that you can select this Ripple editing function on the top left corner here. And once you click on it, we're going to do the same thing and you'll see what's going to happen. So split, and who's going to find out where it is?
Okay. Do you mind if we just start in 2 minutes?
So I'm getting rid of, do you mind if you just start in 2 minutes? There is a silence here, so I know that I can cut here. So I click on the S of the keyboard again. Then I click here, then I get rid of it by pressing remove item. And as you've seen it, like it automatically, what all of that was after my edit automatically went back to where it was. Like the editing, the media item went on the left. I'm going to show you one more time just to be sure that this is clear. So I'm cutting it here, split with the S. I'm cutting here again, split with the S. And then with my keyboard, because you can do it with the click right, but you can also do it with the delete key of your keyboard. I'm clicking on it, and the media item on the left automatically went back to the right, so that I don't need to drag it manually. It's automatically still stuck together.
Oh.
So this is something very useful for Reaper. So now I'm going to have a look at the questions. Okay, there's no new questions. So this is one of the interesting thing with Reaper, and it's quite useful when you're actually editing. One of the other important thing to know is that this thing, Ripple editing, that like that adjusts automatically everything to the left, can be used just for the track. So everything that is going to be after you edit on your track is going to like move accordingly to your splitting, or it can be for your entire thing. For example, if I've cut here, so there is a bit here, there's a bit here, and this is how I'm working. And I've decided now that I want to get rid of this. So I'm just going to click on S and this. And then I select, rather than selecting Ripple editing per track, I'm selecting Ripple editing all tracks, which means that when I'm going to click here, and I'm going to like delete it, everything has moved. Not only what was on my track, but also what was on the track just above it. So I'm just going to, I hope that's clear. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to do a break here to answer questions. Alors. How do you join two clips together, one split, or do you not need to just place them next to each other? So if you want to like this is, there must not be, if there is silence in between your two clips. So the question is, how do you, I don't really understand the question. How do you join two clips together, one split, or do you need to just place them next to each other? So if there is two clips here and you don't want to have this, and you don't want to have this little silence in between, you can just like have them stuck together. And if both of them have a sound that is similar in like at the start and at the end, you probably won't hear the difference. So there's no cut. But you can also crossfade it if you think that sounds more natural. And it can be useful if there is sounds that there's lots of background sounds and you want it to, but it's kind of the wind, for example, and it's just going to sound like the wind is mixing with each other. That's why you use the crossfade.
That is far. Oh.
But there's also a way of joining to clip together. Alors, let me find out. Alors, this, if you click right, if you select the two clips, if you select the two clips that have been cut, so here, as you can see here, there's a line because the two clips are actually cut. So if you select the two clips, to select two clips, you click on one clip and you hold the command key on your keyboard and you click on another clip, and the two clips are selected. Then you click right and you go down and there's here splits in items. And if you do that, then the two clips are joined. You can move them as you want and they are together. Okay, I'm gonna see if you have any more questions. And you can also glue them, as he said, by using, as Johnston said, by just using item then on glue shortcut. I'm gonna try to show you glue. but I think it's kind of the same thing. Yeah, so you can either do what I've just shown you, but the split is still going to be here, but you're going to be able to move the two items together, or you can select the two items that have been cut and go on glue items. And then my computer is a bit slow, so this is what appears. If your computer is faster than mine, this will be super fast. And then after once this will be over, your two items will be back as one. So I'm just going to let this happen. Okay, so now as we can see, the two items that I've just glued has become one. So let's go back to what I was saying. So now I'm going to show you something else. So there's an important thing that you need to know is that those tracks, so this is the voice. We don't need this one anymore because I've like moved everything to the second one. So this is your items. This is everything that we have now. So if you want, so for the mastering and adding effects to this track, there's like, you can use FX here. You click on it and it's going to show you of effects window. So there's lots of effects and plugins that you can download online that can be useful for EQing and all the rest. I'm not going to go into details into this, but I'm just going to show you an example on how you can add it to your entire track. So we're going to choose, we're not going to EQ the voice here, but we're going to use, for example, reverb, so that it's something that we can actually hear. So if you select the effects that you want, the effects that I have are really basic. So you select the effects that you want, you click on OK. And then there's presets that are already done. So I'm gonna like choose, you can do it manually, of course, but there's like presets. So I'm just gonna show you, I'm just gonna choose one just to show you. And then you click on add. Sorry, and then you click on set all. And then you click on this, and now the effects that I've put, it's green, so it's here. It's been the effect is being applied to the track. So let's listen to it now. So as you can see, I've added a reverb to the entire track by adding an effect here. So there's lots of different effects that you can use. If you just want to hear, if you added lots of effects and you want to hear your what you've done without the effects just for a sec, you just click on the on button here, and you have the normal track, and then you click on it, and it becomes your effect. So you can use that for EQing, for mastering your voice, and for all the rest. So if you want to, once you've done all of this, if you want to, like, I'm just going to show you one last bit, and then I'm just going to answer questions. Once you've done all of this, if you want to export your podcast, so let's do some stuff here so that it actually looks like something. So you want to like have everything else together. Voilà. So you want to render, you want to export everything and have an MP3 file after you've done all your edits. So you go on File, Render, and this little box is going to appear. Then you have different choices. You can choose to just have the master mix rendered. That's going to bounce the entire project, or you can choose to, like, if you have selected a time selection, you can choose to only have, so if I select, I'm just going to show you, if I select just 1 minute of the track here, I can, if I want, just have this exported as an MP3 or WAV format. So there's different stuff. There's the entire project, the time selection, the selected regions, or the project regions. You can choose to have the master mix exported, or some selected media items. So if I select the media items of the different box, so if I select just this one or just this one, I can have only just that exported in 3 different little file, MP3 file, MP3, how do you call this? in 3 different MP3 sound bits. So then once you've done that, you can choose, this is where you choose your file name. So I've decided to call it Rise and Shine. So it's gonna render to this place in my computer, Reaper Media, Rise and Shine. So then there's like a sample rate. So you choose your sample rate, you choose your channel, is it stereo or is it mono that you want to do? You can decide if you want it full speed or not. And then the most important bit is here. You choose your format. So I usually just do WAV or MP3. Then you choose, so if it's MP3, you then choose the quality of your export. So if it's below, usually when it's like below an hour to an hour, I just use 320 kbps. But if it's like above 2 hours, just for the sake of, sometimes it's just easier if you, it depends what you're doing with your file, but it can be useful to choose 256 kbps. Once you've done this, you click, I'm gonna click on 320 now, call it Rise and Shine. You just click on render one file. So I'm gonna bounce the entire project because I haven't done a file selection. You just click on it and it's gonna render your project, which means it's gonna create from your project an MP3 file that is going to be your podcast. So I'm showing you this just so you know how it works. It's usually faster if you have a faster computer, but mine is quite slow. It doesn't matter. It's just gonna like, I don't really have to finish it, but I just wanted to know, do you have any questions? Sarah, do you have any questions? Well, Sarah is not here anymore.
Hi, no, that's perfect.
Okay, great. Okay, so this is how it works. There's no, okay, so this is just like, this is taking ages and it's just my computer very slow, but basically at the end of this, once I go on the output on this address, I'll see the file, my podcast done. So there's a question that someone asked. Phoebe asked that if we want to test the FX, if you want to test the FX, is there a way of looping the bit of audio, playing it again and again, whilst you test the different levels of the effect? So, so we're going to go back to FX. So as you see, like now I'm clicking on FX. And you want to test the different level of the audio, and can you loop it? One sec. So if you click left, you should be able to loop. Let me find it because it's not something I've ever used actually. So you say, I think you can select.
Eat your clothes. Muddle. Yeah, called Sausage Cast. Eat your clothes.
So what you can do, I'm gonna show you again. So you can click on the time selection that you want to loop. So this is the time selection. I'm selecting it now. And then you click on toggle repeat just here. So that this, I'm just going to do it shorter. So that this is going to loop while I'm playing with the FX.
It's sausages. It's called Sausage Cast or something. And I think it's sausages. It's called.
Voilà, so this is looping. So what I do that, I can just add my effect. So the effect is already here. So just click on.
It's called Sausage Cast or something. And I think it's sausages.
And this is looping.
It's called Sausage Cast or something.
So you can play with your effect.
And I think it's sausages.
Why are you looping it? Sorry. So you can play with your effects while you're looping it. So let's find out if you have other questions. So there's another question. If your audio is plus 2 hours, what's the best bitrate in MP3s? If the audio is plus 2 hours, I would say to choose 256 because it could be easier if you're broadcasting it, and also it would be like less. It will be easier to like exchange and broadcast. So you go on render and you choose 256, just under like 220. So this is the question. There's another question. I get a recording sign that comes up, not allowing me to record. How do I get around that, please? Peters, would you be able to specify what kind of recording sign you're getting? Well, I'm just waiting for Peters to like ask his question again, but don't hesitate to tell me if you have other questions. So let's see, like this is some question that have been asked. How do we undo the crossfade? I've already answered this. Can you give an example of when you use a crossfade? I've already answered this as well. Yeah. Hello, I have a question about files. I have experienced a problem using files on Reaper. It says they are offline or missing. I think that usually when this happens is that all your files are not, basically Reaper is gonna create, if you save your project, it is gonna create, donc Rise, I'm just gonna call it Rise and Shine. Then you save. And then once you're trying to find, I'm going to go on the Reaper Media. I'm just going to find, sorry in advance for my computer that is a real. So how can I show you this? So I'm going to create another file because my computer is very. So this is the Reaper Media. Basically, this is all my projects are here, but they're not supposed to be all mixed together. But all you like when you save a project on Reaper, all your files. So if you have music and if you have other things like atmospheric, they all need to be copied in Reaper Media to avoid, this is what I'm doing myself to avoid having offline. This is just because my computer is slow that you can see it, but this is how I do it. Just have all your file copied in the same Reaper Media, all your different bits of audio copied in the same Reaper Media file. So someone has asked, what does bitrate mean? It's the number of bits per second that can be transmitted. So I think Lisa is probably able to explain this better than me, but it's like the number of bits per second that can be transmitted along a digital network. So I know that's not a really clear answer, but to be honest, I don't know what bitrate means. I just know it's the quality of your export. So there's lots of other questions. How do you change your settings so that the audio saves in a particular chosen place, like on an external hard drive? So to do this, you go on File, Render. So you have two options. You go on Save Project As, and then you can decide where you want your projects to be saved. And then same for if you want to render it as in export it directly to a specific place, like the final project, the MP3 rather than just the Reaper Media project. You go on render, and then here you just choose where you're going, the directory. So if you have an external hard drive, you can just browse, find your external hard drive here. If you go actually inside your computer and select it, and just have it here and start rendering. I hope that answers your question. It says no track arm for recording, basically trying to record my voice and it's not allowing me to record. So Peter's asked a question about why he can't record himself. And it says no, because it says that no tracks are armed for recordings. So this is happening because when you want to record something, at first, what you need to do is like, so I'm just going to show you, I'm just going to insert a new track. And let's say I want to record my voice and it's going to appear here. So not only you need to do that, but if you do this, this is going to come up because you haven't selected the tracks. So I guess this is what you're getting because you haven't selected the track that is armed for recording, the tracks that is going to receive your recording. So what you need to do is first arm your recording. So click on record arm, and then you're going to be able to record your voice. Sorry. Voila. So very important. Let me just stop this recording. So it's very important to. So it's very important to first arm the recording so they know which where the recording is going to go to. You arm one of the tracks and then you press recording. I hope that answers your question, Peter. So, alors, for Autodoc, would you lower the level manually? What is Autodoc? Could someone answer this question? Okay, I'm going to go to another question while someone can specify what is Autodoc. So someone asked, how do you change the settings so that the audio? I've already answered that. Please, could you show how to configure ducking sidechaining is what you showed with the manual volume earlier, the manual version. I'm sorry, I actually can't answer this question. I have no idea what is ducking or sidechaining. Voila. Maybe I know, but like, this is what you show. Maybe I can show it. Would you like me to show again how to do it with the manual volume earlier? Alice? I'm just going to stay here and like be available if anybody has other questions. Okay, so there's no more questions. So I think I'm just going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for listening to it, and I hope that was clear and that you can actually like start using Reaper after seeing this little workshop. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Sarah. Have a nice evening.